President of the Security just briefed you on the outcomes of the briefing in the closed consultations of the Security Council with regard the remaining issues related to the Syrian chemical program. I would like to focus on the following points. Number one, the remaining or the outstanding issues are purely technical issues to be finalized by the OPCW and the Syrian, in cooperation with the Syrian government. Something we have been doing for almost over a year. The Syrian government has offered and still offering all possible cooperation and facilitations to the OPCW and UNOPS in order to finish the remaining work. The trilateral agreement between the Syrian government, OPCW, and the UNOPS has been modified after the withdrawal of GOP company that was supposed to conduct the destruction process. So the company which was entrusted to conduct the destruction process has withdrawn. Several meetings were held between representatives of the Syrian government and the OPCW and the UNOPS, and the negotiations ended successfully with 2 Syrian companies to conduct the destruction process. And they are Assas company, which will conduct the destruction of the 7 hangars, and Al Zain company, which will conduct the destruction of the 5 tunnels and remove the debris of the hangars. By the way, the hangars and the tunnels are empty. This is why we are insisting on the technical aspect of the destruction process. The destruction process of the 12 empty production facilities, which are, as I said, 7 hangars and 5 tunnels, is scheduled to begin later this month with the destruction of the first tunnel. And the destruction process of the 12 facilities is supposed to finish by the end of June 2015. The company assigned for the destruction of the hangars is still waiting for the delivery of special equipment and the explosives necessary for the destruction. The Syrian government emphasizes that any delay in delivering those equipment and explosives materials and the delay in the destruction process of the hangars that might result from this is the responsibility of the international parties and not that of the Syrian government. In order to show its maximum cooperation with the OPCW in the destruction process of the 12 production facilities, the Syrian government will work to resolve all the taxation issues related to the 2 companies. The OPCW was informed that this is considered as a contribution from the Syrian government in addition to the previous contributions, as in the case of removing the debris and increasing the government's contribution in the project risks from 15% to 25%. I'm in your hands.
Is that starting the same thing the end of this month, the 5 tunnels, or is the withdrawal of the company will delay that?
This technical aspect is in the hands of the 2 companies, in the hands of the 2 companies assigned by, mutually speaking, by the Syrian government, the OPCW, and the UNOPS.
Thanks a lot. What's your position on the continuation of this mandate in the Security Council? Some are saying that Angela Kane will be giving monthly briefings. Is that your understanding?
No, this is not what we understand from the whole process. For us, the political aspect of the consultations and deliberations and negotiations is over. I mean, the part related to the Security Council business is over. So all the technicalities should be dealt with accordingly in The Hague by the OPCW, with the cooperation, of course, of the Syrian government, since Syria has become a full-fledged member of the OPCW. And by the way, as I have indicated in my introductory remarks, these 12 production facilities are empty. So here we are talking about empty hangars and empty tunnels. We are not talking about anything specific related to the previous Syrian chemical program, because there is no anymore any Syrian chemical program.
إذا كانت هذه المنشآت خاوية كما تقولون، ما الغاية من تدميرها؟ لماذا لا يتم استخدامها لغايات مدنية مثلا أو للنازحين؟
شكرا لهذا السؤال الهام جدا. نحن كحكومة سورية اقترحنا هذا الاقتراح، قدمنا مثل هذا الاقتراح وقلنا بدلا من تدمير هذه المنشآت التي كلفت الملايين يمكن استخدامها لغايات أخرى مدنية. لكن الدول إياها التي تحاول أن تثير الموضوع في مجلس الأمن من حين لآخر وكل شهر، هي نفسها أصرت على تدمير هذه المنشآت، الهنجارات والأنفاق، ونحن تماشينا مع هذا التوجه باعتبار أن المجلس التنفيذي لمنظمة حظر الأسلحة تبنى هذا التوجه، فنحن مشينا مع المجلس التنفيذي، مع قرار المجلس التنفيذي ومع المنظمة. يعني الموضوع بكل بساطة هو عبارة عن أبنية إسمنتية فارغة، بعض الدول تصر على ضرورة تدميرها وإزالتها وترحيل الأتربة، وكل هذه الأمور ستقوم بها شركتان سوريتان بالاتفاق مع منظمة حظر الأسلحة.
ما هي العراقيل بالعربي تشرح لنا ما تكلمت به بالإنجليزية، العراقيل أمام تدمير؟
لا يعني هي ليست عراقيل، هي أشياء روتينية تحدث في كل ملف، لكن هناك من يحاول أن يشير بإصبعه إلى الحالة السورية بالتحديد. يعني من أصل 190 دولة في منظمة حظر الأسلحة الكيماوية لا يتم الحديث إلا عن الحالة السورية، سواء في لاهاي أو في نيويورك، على الرغم من أننا أضحينا كما تعرف منذ أكثر من عام عضو كامل العضوية في منظمة حظر الأسلحة الكيماوية. فالأشياء التي أسميتها روتينية فنية، لنقل أشياء فنية لكنها بمنتهى الأهمية، مثلا الآن الشركتان اللتان أنيط بهما تدمير هذه المنشآت تنتظران تزويدهما بالمواد المتفجرة القادرة على تفجير هذه المنشآت، وهذه المواد مسؤول عنها مركز الإمداد التابع للأمم المتحدة UNOPS ومنظمة حظر الأسلحة. فالكرة الآن في ملعب الطرف الآخر، ليس في ملعب الحكومة السورية، زائد التمويل، زائد مسألة التمويل، لأنه هناك في مشكلة عند منظمة الأسلحة من قبل ما يسمى بالمقدمين الدونرز، المانحين. فأيضا المانحون الآن مقصرون في تقديم الدعم المالي للشروع بتطبيق خطة تدمير المنشآت الفارغة الإسمنتية في سوريا.
Ambassador, the US-led coalition against ISIL has been meeting in Brussels. Secretary of State John Kerry has said that ISIL has been damaged by their efforts, but the fight could go on for years. What do you make of that assessment?
I would like to refer you to two things. Number one, what President Assad said today to the French magazine Paris Match, in which he said that the aircraft, the so-called coalition aircraft strikes did not affect ISIS or ISIL on the ground. And that the Syrian aircraft and the Syrian military and the Syrian military aircraft strikes are the ones which are undermining the potential credibility, terrorist credibility of the ISIS and ISIL. So this is the first indication that all these raids, by the number of 1,000, I think Mr. Kerry said, did not produce any concrete results on the ground, because the attacks do not target the convoys coming from Iraq to Syria, from Syria to Iraq. These convoys are very important to be destroyed, because they are conveying the weapons between the two borders of the two countries. Then, of course, you are unable definitely to fight ISIS and to undermine its credibility, military credibility on the ground without consulting with the main concerned military, which is the Syrian army. We know where they are. We have the information. We are fighting ISIS and ISIL on our own without waiting for anybody. We did start fighting ISIS long time before the coalition was set up. The second point is the report, the very important report published a couple of days ago by the Global Research in Canada, which specifically indicates that Turkey is deeply involved in smuggling not only weapons inside Syria, but also terrorists, men and women and teenagers even in sometimes, and that this has become a kind of business for the Turkish mediators, smugglers, all along the common border with Syria. I would strongly advise you to read this report. It's very important, and it's based on a live testimony collected by the German TV channel whose crew went there and investigated this, what we are talking about, and came back with these results. So please take these 2 points into consideration while assessing and reassessing what's going on the ground.
Can you tell us that for the Syrian government, how ISIS or ISIL should be called?
Should be
called, and what is the name that this organization, okay? What is the proper name to call this organization? Because I think to give a name to something is recognizing it, something. So what the Syrian government gives?
Thank you so much. This is another important question, actually, which I addressed a long time ago when I spoke about the necessity to observe and to be careful and cautious while using and utilizing the terminology, the vocabulary. We shouldn't repeat wrong terminology when we are talking about this terrorist organization. It's a terrorist organization. It's not an Islamic because it has nothing to do with Islam. These are a bunch of thugs and mobs collected by the foreign intelligence services from all over the world and sent to Syria to kill the Syrians and to be killed by the Syrians. Because these countries, starting from Australia and ending up by USA and Canada, they don't do what they have to do to stop this flux of terrorists from coming inside Syria. So the best way to get rid of this garbage in Australia, in Canada, in USA, France, Belgium, Britain, wherever, Germany, Austria, Denmark, Holland, Burkina Faso, by the way, Lithuania, is to send them to Syria. They cannot kill them on the spot. So the best way to get rid of them is to send this garbage to Syria and Iraq so that they would fulfill the hidden agenda by killing the Syrians and being used as a political pressure on the Syrian government, and at the same hand, get killed by the Syrians at the end of the day. So for us, this is a terrorist organization. It's not called ISIS. It's not called ISIL. This is not an Islamic State. This is not neither Islamic nor state. So we should be very careful while dealing with this terminology. And thank you very much for asking this question. Yes, please. By the way, there is a Turkish parliamentarian who made a very important statement yesterday, a Turkish parliamentarian. Also, I strongly advise you to read it. It's very important because it accuses the Turkish government of using what we call the silos of wheat on the border with Syria, huge buildings, you know, to store the wheat. They are using these buildings as special locations to train the terrorists for the booby cars and the suicide bombers. A Turkish parliamentarian is accusing the Turkish government of using these big buildings, agricultural buildings, all along the Syrian-Turkish border to train the terrorists before sending them inside Syria. please go back also to this very important development.
Two things that have happened in today. One is that Iran has come out attacking ISIS, or you don't want to...
The Iranian denied.
Yeah.
The Iranian denied.
And so you, do you welcome that?
The Iranian government denied.
Okay, the other thing I want to know, that WFP has cut out all aid to Syrian refugees. Have you made an appeal to the United Nations, to the Secretary General, that something should be done about it, that the aid should not be cut? About WFP's aid has been cut to Syrian refugees.
The World Food Program, you mean?
Yes.
The World Food Program,
Yes, sir.
It's once again related to the donors' policies. If the WFO does not fulfill the agendas of the donors, they will cut short their cash money. So it's a political matter.
He should act.
The Secretary General should do too many things.
People to be starving to death.
The Secretary General should do too many things. Too many things. And he's not doing.
Mr. Ambassador, I do apologize if I missed because I came late. Probably you answered or addressed this issue. A few days ago, President Putin met President Erdogan. They made a trade pact, although they are in total disagreement over Syria, obviously. So what do you say? What do you say on that, and how do you see it?
I do not interfere into the Russian domestic affairs, of course, but Russia is a big power seeking its own interest. We are quite sure that Russia is not seeking its interest at the detriment of the Syrian interest. Thank you so much.